All right, and joining me today is Pannie Kianzad, who fights Ketlen Vieira at UFC London. That fight is on July 22nd. So, Pannie, I wanted to start here. It's been 15 months since we've seen you in there. Obviously, I know
Mm.
you had an accident in the gym. There was an issue with your knee. Can you tell us a little bit more about just how bad that was and maybe what the recovery looked like a bit?
So I just tore like 15 months ago, I tore my ACL, and yeah, I basically just went into surgery 2 weeks after, and then I headed over to the PI in Vegas and spent 3 months there, and doing the first part of my recovery there, and then I headed back home and just continued. And yeah, it's just a normal ACL tear, nothing spectacular about it, just like everyone else. Recovery has been really good, and but I wanted that year to pass before I got into the cage.
Well, and that
I
was going
wanted
to
to
be
be sure.
yeah, that was going to be my next question. So some of it is just wanting to find that faith in the knee again, to believe that it was good again.
Yeah, and I'm not really in a hurry. I was ranked, but like my placement in the ranking was good. I just signed a new contract. I just got off a win. So I didn't feel like I just didn't need to rush anything. I just don't want to come back too soon just because just to hurry it. And then I got offered fights before that as well, but I wanted to wait a year.
That makes sense. Now, out of curiosity, this is obviously a big fight, fighting Ketlen Vieira, somebody who is a little bit ahead of you in the rankings. Were those other offers as enticing as people who would get you, where you want to be, closer to the title?
I mean, no, like basically I always ask for my opponents. Uh, Ever since I got into the UC, I asked who I want to fight, and I always pick people in front of me in the rankings. So I told them, I told my manager, I fight Holly or Caitlin. Like I don't care who's this gonna be because they just fought each other like a year ago or something. They kind of neck to neck in rankings. I'm like, and top five, like the level is so high. It really doesn't matter. Am I gonna fight Holly or I'm gonna fight Caitlin? I mean, you're still gonna get a tough fight, right? And and she was coming off a loss against Rocky, a close fight. And Rocky's probably gonna fight for a title now. And I had a really close fight for Rocky. I just felt like, it's time. It's time for us to meet. And I'm ranked number 6 and she ranked number 4. It just makes sense.
I like that. Now, obviously, the 135-pound elephant in the room is that your division has now no title holder, right? Amanda
Yeah.
Nunes retires after her big win. You just mentioned that you think Raquel Pennington is probably the one fighting for the belt next.
Yeah.
Is it an exciting time for you to see the division so wide open and to see so many opportunities? Or is it also maybe kind of a little bit of a bummer that you don't wind up getting to fight, Amanda Nunes and have that match with maybe the greatest of all time?
I do feel it's a bummer that we don't get to fight, but I kind of feel for her. I mean, you've been fighting for so long and you've done so many title runs. I mean, let the girl retire. Just, I know why she retires. I mean, she wants to end up on top. She wants to quit on top and she has a family and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, the division is wide open. I see a lot of I always see possibilities. I don't care if Amanda was still there or anything, but I see a lot of big possibilities, and I see myself becoming the first Swedish champ.
That's great to hear. Now, you mentioned in there that you think Raquel Pennington's next. Is it you think her and Pena? Do you think a big win here from you, something emphatic against Ketlen Vieira, puts you in that mix? Where do you think that first bantamweight title fight is going to look like?
I think she's gonna beat Pena. That's number one. That's first, and then I think that we have to look forward for the Holly versus Holly's fight. Like if there's a good fight there, and if there's a good fight between me and Ketlen Vieira, I do see myself fighting for the title, uh, expecting that I look good against Ketlen Vieira.
I like that. I like that. Now, before we get to talking about that fight and all the stylistic pieces that come into it, I did want to ask you about getting the fight in Europe again because it's been a little bit, right? And it obviously it's not Sweden. It's not,
Ah.
we're not getting a Stockholm event yet. But how excited are you to be, at least a little bit closer to home, at least on European soil?
I asked for London just because of that reason that I've been gone for a year and I wanted to fight a bit closer just for the comeback. I love fighting in Vegas though, so I've been fighting there most of my career, and I'm looking forward to go back to Vegas again after this. I mean, it's nice. They're traveling 2 hours. I mean, that's nothing, and no time difference. I just feel like I just wanted to do my comeback fight. I mean, I've been through some trips, so I'm gonna let myself rest a bit when it comes to the trips.
That makes sense to me. Now, you said you love Vegas. What about fighting in Vegas do you love?
Like I hate Vegas to like stay there and live there and people and stuff like that. But I like fighting in the States. I mean, fighting in the Apex, being around the PI, and being around the UFC headquarters, and just like fighting in the States has given me such big opportunities. And I mean, I never fight in Europe. They never get me fights in Europe, and I see that as a good thing. Because I think it's good to market me on a bigger stage where I belong, and I think the States is perfect for that. I mean, it's the fighting capital, and I just like, I mean, I just like fighting in the States. It's nice.
I like that. But you did mention the Apex in there because I've heard a lot of fighters say, "Yeah, I like fighting in Vegas. Yeah, I like fighting in big American stadiums." I do not hear very many people say they love the
Ew,
Apex.
because they spoil. They think they're something, or I don't even know. But who doesn't like being in like Apex fighting? The hotel is like 2 minutes away from there. You have the PI, you have everything there. You just go in, get the job done, and then you go out. I think it's amazing. I think it's the best thing they could even think about. You don't even have to worry about like all the fans or anything. I think it's nice to be able to hear yourself in the cage. I mean, the only thing that's kind of negative, I would say that it's not a big cage. I like the big cage, but I mean, I think it's the best thing they ever done. The Apex cages. More people get to fight, more people get to work. No.
Yeah, I agree. So now I got to ask too. You mentioned you like the big cage. What about the big cage? Is more preferable to your style?
I mean, it gets me more like I get more room. I feel like I'm like the smaller cage is like way smaller. It's not like a little bit smaller. It's like half of it. And then honestly, I have good cardio. I don't mind seeing my opponents run around because usually I have much better cardio than them. So it makes them work a bit harder.
I like it. Now let's talk specifically about your matchup here with Ketlen Vieira. As you said, you've kind of seen her and Holly as the people who you were going to fight. So I have to imagine when they did eventually come with the name Ketlen Vieira, you already got her scouted. You already know exactly what you like about the matchup. What is it that you like about fighting Ketlen Vieira?
I mean, I just figured myself fighting her before fighting for a title, like, because she's always been ranked so high. She's got really good wins against good opponents, and I feel like it's a perfect name to cross off my list. It looks good. She has a good record. She's very strong, and she can be very different in styles. I mean, she's very clinch base, a bit like tall and a bit strong and stuff like that. I'm kind of like totally the opposite. I work basically on my technique and a lot of like footwork, and and I know a lot of people have seen only my boxing, but I'm very well rounded, and I mean, I will bring the other tools in front of you guys whenever I need to. I mean, I can hold on to them as long as I can. And just like I knew we were always gonna fight each other. I remember. I mean, I do commentary on the weekend, so I commentate basically all of her fights. So I know all these girls inside out, everybody in the ranking or outside the ranking. So
Is that an advantage you see? Because I know you do those broadcasts over there in Is that an advantage you see? You're scouting literally, not like you said, not just 1 through 5, not through just 1 through 10, 1 through 50 or however many bantamweights there are.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cheat code, honestly. It is. It's a legal cheat code because I watch a lot of film. I do a lot of research and I get to see like not only my division, I see all the different divisions, the guys' divisions, and commenting them and going through what they're doing in the fights. Because I know a lot of fighters don't watch fights, and I think that's really weird. It's like being a doctor or a surgeon without even doing a surgery. It's weird. Like more fighters should watch more film, should watch like their divisions, or if you have a style that you can compare to another fighter that's really good, then you can like look out for that style and you can see what they're doing to improve that all the time. But yeah, I watch a lot of film and I watch a lot of her films, and I even think I commentated her last fights. So yeah, I mean, it's just good. Like it helps me a lot during my injury as well to watch film.
So I'm going to take you back to something you said there a second ago. You said not just people in your division, not just prospective opponents, but also people who you think maybe in other divisions who do similar things to you. You pick up little bits and pieces from them. I obviously don't want you to give away huge secrets to your game or anything like that, but is there a time that you can share with us that you saw something in another fighter and you're like, oh, that'd be nice for my game?
No, like okay, so one of my favorite fighters is Holloway. It's a lot of action. He puts a lot of output out there, and he uses like both his feet, his hands, and everything. And like for example, I watch him, and I think that okay, I like his output. For example, when I was fighting Sijora Eubanks, I was watching Gustafsson versus Teixeira in Sweden, right? And I was watching that fight. I'm like, this is the fight to watch, because I was working against a shorter fighter, a heavier grappler, and the way he uses boxing, I was taking a lot from that too. So I kind of like I take different fighters that I like and choose stuff about them, and then I try to implement maybe that's my game.
I love that.
So
Now
that cheat code.
those three straight uppercuts. Where does that rank on your all-time knockouts of
That
especially for
fight
Swedish
is my
MMA?
favorite. That fight is my favorite. Like Gustafsson doesn't get enough credit for that fight. That's an amazing fight.
It's one of my favorite highlights, the back uppercut. So obviously we got to talk about your fight though. So you said you think she's going to come with the grappling. You know that you got the better boxing. You know you work better from range. How do you see this fight going? Give us a little bit of a blueprint of what it looks like and maybe how you get your hand raised at the end here.
I mean, like going from what I've seen with her, it's like wherever she's comfortable, she's gonna go with that, right? So if she can stand up and strike with you for 3 rounds, she's definitely gonna do that. So I don't think she's only grappling based. I mean, her last fight, she's barely been on the ground. So I'm expecting everything. I mean, I'm expecting her to come out there and just like you know what? I just wish she'd just stand with me. I just hope a girl like just stands in the middle, and I really want to get into a fist fight, so I'm really hoping for that. So I'm just hoping for just hoping to do like Wonder Boy and Holland fight. Just what, we're just gonna keep that standing. No, but I'm ready for everything. My team is always making me ready for any kind of fight. But I have a game plan and everything, but that's always like you can always change that because it's when you're in there. I'm basically I'm gonna go with the flow, whatever I'm feeling.
I dig it. So usually I ask and end these things with a prediction. It sounds like you're pretty open to anything, but do you have an ideal way you see this one ending come July 22nd?
I see myself dominating Caitlin for 3 rounds. That's what I'm seeing. And if I don't do that, it's something wrong with me. That's what I'm seeing.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. This has been Pannie Kianzad, who fights Ketlen Vieira at UFC London. That fight, once again, July 22nd. Pannie, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.